Hi everyone, Diane here. Welcome to my studio. Just wanted to say hi and welcome to a cup of coffee with me. I just wanted to remind you actually about the World of Watercolor Month, which has been running this month, and that you can purchase a mug like this one designed by me for Charlie O'Shields of World Watercolor Month, or a pouch, which is a really useful item also, and it has other designs there as well by other artists, all to support the International Child Art Foundation, which he founded in 2016 to try to support the very laudable aims of people who want to teach children how to paint. What could be better than that? So if you want to pop over to Doodle Wash and support him, I would be very grateful. It doesn't affect me financially at all, but I just like to think that we can do a little thing that we can do, which is not much, but something better than nothing. Anyway, so a couple of other things too. I want to thank everybody very sincerely from the bottom of my heart for all your absolutely wonderful, marvelous, amazing, incredible, fantastic comments that you've made on the last video, the one that went up on the 18th of July, the two birds on the nest, where we were talking about the giveaway that we're doing this week. And so appreciate everything that you've said. Believe me, no way can I answer all of those comments. It's got to the point of impossible now. So I'm just going to say to all of you, every single one of you, I have read them all, and I am overwhelmed with your wonderful comments, and some of them are incredibly touching too. So I'm glad to be able to help people. If I can do anything to help with the way the world is at the moment, I'm only too pleased. So we'll carry on doing it for as long as I can maintain my breathing and heart beating and so on and so forth. Nothing else will stop me. Right, and then the third thing, just to let you know that the colouring book, the reverse colouring book, is still available. Obviously, it's not on Patreon to download. You do have to pay for it, obviously, and it's on the Etsy shop, and it's also available from our website. And if you go to our website and sign up there for our newsletter, which is free, you get all sorts of extras like discounts on things and so on and so forth. And last week, for example, we were offering a free colouring book to anyone who bought the reverse colouring book. So, you know, that's the kind of thing that we're up to, trying to help you and us. Now, today's painting is going to be this little, or something like this, village on a hill, little houses on a little hill. Looks a bit Italian, doesn't it? But it wasn't really necessarily meant to be, but that will obviously depend on what kind of houses you put on it, whether it comes out looking American, Italian, French, English, or whatever. I don't know why it came out like that, but it did. And I'm going to show you how to do this, and it's, excuse me, it's really easy. I better drink some of this. It was drinking coffee that made me start choking. It went down the wrong way. So what we do to do this, I've got here, this is Baohong paper. Baohong Academy watercolor paper pad, 100% cotton, cold press. It's identical as far as I can tell. I'm sure it comes from the same factory. In fact, I'm saying that knowing that it does. It's not just me guessing. I know that this is a recent advance in Chinese technology as far as paper making goes. And Baohong started to make it, and now they make it for other people too, including Meaden. So it's the same as Meaden, basically. I know that because they sent it to me. Meaden did. They sent it. And they said, oh, yes, no. Oops. Anyway, moving on. If you get me, if you see what I mean. So to draw this, it looks complicated, perhaps, but it isn't. So what we do is the following. We sit down with a pencil, nice sharp pencil, nice soft pencil, so it's easy to rub out when you've finished. When you've done the painting, you can go over it with a rubber and eraser, and one like this, you know, good old eraser, or one like this, which is a kneaded eraser. This is the kind of eraser that you need, ha ha. That's a freebie I was given. I don't know if it's any good. I don't like them very much myself, but a lot of people do. So there we are. Right, how to do this. I've been trying to get myself fired up today because I woke up this morning again feeling like I died in the night, and it's very strange. I think it must be the weather. It's really weird. Yesterday it was incredibly hot, and today it's going to rain again. I don't know what's going on with the summer here. Anyway, so to do this painting here, I'm going to use my Kuretake paints, although this one was painted using Michael Harding. I don't know whether we'll notice any significant difference. It'll be interesting to compare when we're done, won't it? So that's that. So I'm going to put that in front of me there. In order to do this drawing, as you can see, the sketch will be available for you to download for free from the website or from Patreon if you want it. In fact, I might even put 2 sketches on one page for this, 2 slightly different ones, because it's quite small, isn't it? And I'm doing it small, although you could obviously do it bigger. You could, no reason why you shouldn't do this on 7 by 10 or 10 by 9 by 12 paper. No reason at all. But I thought I would do it small because why not? Anyway, so this is a village on a hill. So we're going to put in a hill in the background. So the first thing we're going to do is put in the hill in the background like that. And then we're going to rub out that line that I accidentally put there. And then we're going to put the hill that's in the front here. So it doesn't matter how you do it, you can just do it like that. And the idea is at the end, like on this one, you can put some flowers on there if you want. So leave enough space for that. So you've got your 2 hills, the distant hill and the nearby hill, and the village is sitting in the middle. And what you can do is you can start at the bottom and gradually work up, layering your houses as you go. So the way I started with the other one was I started on the left-hand side here. And the thing about this kind of drawing is that you don't want the lines to be straight. You want them to be wonky because they look better that way. So I'm doing my best to be wonky. This is supposed to be a little bush. There isn't one on the other one, this one, but because I've done that at a slightly different angle, I'm adjusting it and doing that. So the second house, we make it quite close and think to ourselves, well, we want to put a tree here, but we'll put a bit of house on the roof. If you do the roofs quite shallow pitch, they will tend to look a bit more Italian, if that's what you're after. They won't look French. I'm sure I could think of something funny to say about that, but, well, I ought to be able to think of something funny to say, but I can't. So anyway, so that's that one. And don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Just draw houses. Everybody can do this. And for all the children who are listening, you are particularly good at this kind of thing. So you know you're going to succeed, which is always a good thing. Success is good. So here we have another house. I don't like that line there. It's not wide enough apart. So we rub that out and put it here, just a little bit different. And this one, I'm going to put the windows with window boxes. We're going to put flowers in there. So we aren't trying to make anything look correct perspective or anything like that. This is just, we will put the cat in somewhere because the cat has to be there. We just want it to be, so that's your first row of houses, okay? So now we're going to put another one behind. So we're just going to build up. And so we put that one there. And I quite like a little tiny roof like I've got on this one. And then we put lots of windows. It looks like a prison, looks like an institution, doesn't it? Don't you think? Could be. And then we'll pop a little tiny wee one here. Just tucked away there. And then we can put another one here. But we're also wanting one with a long roof. It's another prison, or maybe this is a school. Maybe there's no difference. And we'll put some windows in there. The schools here in France, they look like prisons. They really do. They are built in such a way as to make you think, oh my goodness, I wouldn't want to be in there. But I'm sure it's fine once you're inside. It's only that they look awful from the outside. Right, so we've got this little one here that needs a roof. Okay. And so that's that one, and then we want another one. We want another one here. And I'm going to give him a pointy hat roof. And then this one here to finish off. Don't forget the windows. We're going to give this one curved topped windows. And then we're going to put some trees in here behind this prison. So we'll put some trees along here. And up here we'll put some more. Three trees, and then a little building there. And then some more trees here, we can do them round. Do however you feel you want to do them. So let's see, have all the houses got windows? Yep. Have we got enough trees? We need another tree here, I think, because we have a little bit of space. So we put tree there. And we need some windows in the end wall there. And we can put some chimneys on, if you fancy some chimneys. Perhaps not too many. And I think that'll do. Okay, so now we've got that one and that one. See, it's completely different. Not completely, I mean, it's obviously the same, but it's slightly different. This one's got a church in it and this one hasn't. So now I have to decide which one I'm going to paint. Okay, so I could join them together, actually. And it's a bigger village. That almost fits, doesn't it? So you could do more than one, and you could do a diptych or a triptych. And you could have, you know, see what I mean? If you made it so that the line of hills was all on one line, and these front ones went like that, like they do, that would make a lovely 3-part set, wouldn't it? Anyway, stop dreaming. What else was I going to say? Yes, paints. Right. Coffee cup away. Put the pouch away. And I've got my Kuretake paints here today, which I'm going to use, I think. Like I said, I think I said that, didn't I? So we'll do that. And I'm going to use a moderately small brush because it's a moderately small painting. This is a size... What is it? Can you read that? I don't know. It looks like about a size 6. That's a 9. I'm going to say that's a 7. I'm going to say that's a 7. I think it's a 7. This is a 5. And I think usually I buy, that could be a 7 and an 8. And that's a 5. Anyway, a smallish kind of brush because, you know, there's not a lot of space there to paint in, is there? So I think I'll go with this one, which I think is a 5 or a 6 or a 7. Let's get a pot of water, put that there. I know you can't see it. And I'll put my dirty old rag up there. First thing I'm going to do is paint the sky. I think I'll do this one to start with. And to paint the sky, we need some blue, and ultramarine or cobalt is good for sky. This is cobalt blue, Kuretake style. That's cobalt blue. Ultramarine is that one. So it's up to you. You can choose. Ultramarine is probably, you know, I'm looking at the sky out there and it's actually grey. So, or some people like to use phthalo blue, which I haven't got. I've got Prussian blue. That's very similar. I think personally that is too green, although quite a lot of people, for example, Karen Rice, I've noticed, uses Prussian blue for her sky, or phthalo blue, basically the same. Myself, I've always been an ultramarine girl. And if I want clouds, ultramarine and burnt sienna mixed together make a very nice grey. So this is burnt sienna. And I always think this is, I feel a bit like I'm in the science lab doing a chemical experiment here. And the children are going to be so impressed when they see what happens, because I know the first time I saw burnt sienna mixed with ultramarine, I didn't really believe that you could get such a lovely soft grey like this. And it really does, when you put that in the sky, it looks like a real sky. Yeah. So anyway, I think what I'll do is I probably will use ultramarine. So all that preamble was just to let you know how to paint a convincing sky. We're not worried about conviction at the moment, are we, Roger? Because this is just a whimsical painting. But if you ever do a proper landscape, like we might do next week, then you might want to think a bit more deeply about how to make clouds in the sky that look realistic, or more moderately realistic. But for this, we're not worried. And we're not worried about backgrounds, and we're not worried about any patchiness or anything like that, because this is all just a bit of fun. There we are. So there's the blue sky. And if you want, you can add a bit more paint towards the top. But if you do go back into, whoops, mistake. That's that phthalo blue misbehaving itself again. That was a bit of a disaster. But there are no disasters when it comes to whimsy. So I don't know why I did that. That was because I was being rude about people that use phthalo blue in their skies, I suppose. That's a bit of, what they call it, instant karma. Anyway, we fix that. We go over it again with a bit more ultramarine, and that's fine. Okay, and so there's nothing wrong with phthalo blue for the sky. I just personally see it a bit too green for my own taste. I suppose if you use phthalo blue red, though, that might not be quite so green. So I should shut up and keep my opinion to myself. Okay, so that's that. And we need to let that dry a little bit, or leave a gap between the sky and the hill, because if I come straight in immediately and let it touch, it will run. So what I'll do is, in the meantime, I'll come down to the front here and we'll pick up some olive green and we'll just paint this piece of hill, this bit of greenery here, this bit of green wasteland. And what was I going to say? You can use whatever technique you want for this. It doesn't matter. I lift out a little bit of that if I think it's a bit too dark, so that's fine. And I can probably do the back. And I might use a slightly different green, or I might, to make it easier, I might add some olive green to some blue. Where's it gone? There we are. So that this hill in the background is a bit bluer. And then I'll put my hand on the wet paint in the foreground so that it has a nice lot of texture. Unintended. And we'll just paint round these trees because we're going to paint them in a different colour in a minute. Although, since we're going to probably paint them darker, you could paint over them. But we'll just do the background hill here in a slightly bluer green than the one in the front because it's a bit further away. And with distance, things become bluer. And that's how you know that they're further away, because if you look into the distance, especially if you live in an part of the world where there's humidity in the air, and the humidity increases the amount of what they call aerial perspective that you get. I'm going to switch to a slightly smaller brush. I think this is the 4, to do the houses. Now, your whole painting is going to depend, how it looks, it's going to depend on what colours you use for your houses and for their roofs, really. So if you feel like being sort of moderately realistic in a little kind of way, you could use browns for the roofs and blues and creams and things for the house buildings. Maybe you could do that, and maybe I will. We've got here a good range of browns and dark reds and things, which will do nicely for the roofs. You could do a roof in something like this colour, which is quite a nice maroon. I think it's actually called maroon. And let's see, we could put that there. And if you put a colour on fairly lightly, you can always change it if you go over the top of it if you don't like it. So we'll start off with that. And if I don't like it, then I can go over it with yellow or orange or something to make it into more of a brown. And then we've got here Indian red, and that's always a good rich colour. I'm just going to avoid going here at the moment because this is still wet, but I can go in here. And you can, you know, just take your time over this. There's no rush. Nobody is waiting for you to, well, they might be, but they're not going to get very far. This one, I'm using raw umber. This is my time of the day. I tend to paint in the mornings. I get up quite early, relatively early, earlier than I need to, really, so that I'm awake in time to be able to paint by about 10 or 11 o'clock. So I've mixed some cadmium orange with a bit of maroon to give me this particular brown colour. There's bound to be somebody who will ask me where I got this palette from that I've put my Kuretake colours in. There's always somebody who asks. And this was just a kind of ad hoc thing. That means I kind of made it up as I went along, because this is the lid to a very large ceramic palette that Meaden sells. It's a studio palette, and it is this big. This is the lid that covers it. And I don't really use that palette very often because it's too heavy and too big. But anyway, even if I did use it, which I might, the lid I wouldn't use. So I thought, oh, I think I know what I could use that for, that lid. I like to be able to repurpose things if I'm not using them. And so I just turned it upside down, and all of the Kuretake paints fitted in around the outside edge, leaving me with a nice space in the middle to mix into. So I am sure that it's possible to buy trays or, things like this somewhere. Somebody will have them somewhere. Or if you absolutely desperately want one, it's quite solid. It's not a kind of flimsy lid. You could always buy one of the palettes, give away the palette part and keep the lid, Right, let's do another one, a bit more orangey, a bit more cadmium orange there, mixed in with that colour, and we'll put that here, let's say. And then, what should we do? Let's have something else a bit pinkish, maybe. Perhaps we have a pinkish brown roof. And then this one in the front, I think, how about, now where is my yellow ochre? Right, let's do this one in yellow ochre with a touch of brown in it. And then I'll add a little bit of orange to that yellow ochre, and we'll do this one. It must be dry up here by now. If you can hear somebody snoring, it's not my husband, it's the dog. Now, have I got all, there's another one there. We'll put that colour in there then, since I've got that on my brush. And I've just noticed that I've missed a little bit of green. Okay, now is this dry? No, they're still not dry. Okie doke. So maybe the next thing would be to paint in the trees. So we'll turn this round again and we'll go for some forest green, forest gump green, this one here, mixed with some olive. So we've got a nice dark green, and I'll put that in there. But I'm not going to go right to the edges because it's a bit damp, so we'll just leave some white lines there around it, doesn't matter. Cypress trees, I think they are, aren't they? And then we'll add a bit of that orange to make these ones a slightly different colour. Very slight actually, but it doesn't matter. Add a bit more orange still, perhaps for these ones down here. And then make it softer still, perhaps with a bit of blue. And we'll put this one in here. I feel the need for a hairdryer in a second or two to make this nice and dry. A bit more forest gump for this one here. And this one. And then we've got this one here. Okay. And the next thing is to do the building colours. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I have a Holbein colour, which is this one here. And I think it's a really nice creamy beige colour, which will be very good for buildings. So I'm going to use that mixed with a touch of other things to give me some nice stonework colours, nice and soft. I'm just trying to remember what that's called. It's called jaune brillant, a French name for Japanese paint. Why not? This needs to be green. Okay, so that's jaune brillant, and I only came across that the other day, and I thought, oh, I need some of that. So I've added a little bit of ultramarine to the jaune brillant to give me this nice soft grey very easily. Oh, somebody was asking, oh no, I'm not going to answer that question. You'll have to come to the live for that on Patreon. Somebody was asking a question and I was just going to answer it, but I'm not going to because it's a question specially for the live on Patreon. Okay, so we'll do another one here in a kind of pinky shade and put a bit more of that stuff. This one maybe. The good thing about this is that you can just forget all about yourself when you do this kind of thing. You forget about all the jobs you haven't done and everything. And you just paint. So I'm going to put some blue here. This one is going to be blue. It's a prism. Okay, we're getting there. This is not a speedy process, you know. This is not what you'd call a 5-minute wonder. Well, perhaps it is. But I think it's a good idea to take your time. Don't you? Some people have said that I paint fast, too fast, I suppose the implication is. And that might very well be true, but not today. Right, now let's mix a little bit of pale green here, maybe, for this one. And then just cream for this one. This is jaune brillant. And oh, there's a roof there I forgot. Oh dear. Okay. And we mustn't forget that little one in the distance there, must we? worry, we'll put the windows in after. Okay, so now what we need to do is let it dry. I'll just put a little bit more green on top of this to give it a bit more texture. So I'm going to put the hairdryer on it. Okay, so we want to put some shadows now in various places to make this have a little bit more of its shape. And one of the things, the first thing I'm going to do is to come along under the roof, the edge of the roof, where the roofs meet the building. And I'm just going to, it doesn't really matter what colour you use, just a slightly darker brownish colour, anything will do. And just come along there like that. To give shadow under that eave. So that's number one that we do in terms of shadows. And then next thing is we're going to do the windows. And the insides of the windows are always going to be fairly dark. So we have this colour here, which is, I think that's called blue-grey. I think that'll do. And we will start here and just put, don't fill the whole window up, just do an L shape, upside down L, like that. Unless they're very small, in which case you might have to fill them up, but you can use the point of your brush. So either you can do an L, or sometimes you might want to do a sort of triangle. So that's just the start, and then you can just drag down a little bit to soften it, like that. And if you feel that the size is too fiddly for you, then go for a bigger piece of paper and do the whole thing bigger. And then you can come back with a bit more of the same colour, a little bit darker, a little bit less water on your brush. Okay, and then we might want to perhaps add some dark brown to that blue-black, and we can put in some beams across the tops of the doors in that rustic way. And well, there's just so many things. I'm going to put the chimney in here on that one while I think of it. And in a minute, we're going to start doing a little bit of pen work. Just put the windows up here and the door, and we'll just put the roof on that one. And I think I might put some trunks, tree trunks, lollipop trees like that. Now, at this point, you've got a couple of choices. You can continue on with brushwork, and you could take some brown and just do lines for the roof tiles using your brush, or you could switch at this point to pen. So it's entirely up to you, and you can emphasize the joins. So go over, in other words, go over your pencil drawing a little bit if you want. You can darken one end of the roof as if the sun was lying on part of it, like that. And then you can soften that by cleaning your brush and then just dragging the colour like that. That gives variety to the colour of the roof. And you can, for example, this one is pinky tone. You can emphasize the edge line there a little bit. And it's at this point where your personality will come out, and what you choose to do with this painting is, you know, that's where your style comes into play, what you decide to do, what comes to mind. And yeah, so I've got another chimney there too, which I need to paint in. So I think I'm going to probably do a little bit of pen work now. And in this one, I went from watercolor to sepia fine liner. This is Winsor & Newton sepia 0.3. And that's what I started to work with, because I wanted to do, for example, these, what do you call them? Window boxes. And I didn't really think, well, you could do them with a brush. Of course you could paint them, but I just thought it'd be quite nice to use the pen. And then after I'd drawn those, I thought, well, I think I want to sort of emphasize the edges of the building using sepia. So that's what I did, and that's what I'm going to do again. And you can go around the windows, just make them stand out a little bit more. Like that. And then here's a thing. I'm going to just put in some, this is a brush pen. This is Poetique, and this one's called Bronze Green. You could use a regular felt tip. For example, these Stabilo pens, but they don't have such a good brush, nib, whatever. So yeah, so you can use that, and then pick up a red one as well. And we've, Bob's your uncle, we've got geraniums in the window boxes. What could be easier than that? And that would be tricky to do with a brush. That would be tricky. So that's a good thing. Those Poetique pens are wonderful for little details like that. Whoops. That one should be over there. And then we can carry on outlining the roofs and down the edges and so on and so forth. And as you start to do these lines, the whole thing kind of becomes a little bit more three-dimensional. And you'll start to see places where you want to put more paint in as well, for example. So I will come back to these windows with paint and make them a bit darker. Now, this whole thing needs to be worked on all the way around. But I'm going to my trees and I'm just going to outline them. And then we'll do a bit of whimsy and put in some lines for branches like that. You could do this all in black, you don't have to use brown. Or you could use white as well. And you could use white on these ones, but I'm going to just stick with the brown, I think. So we go around them a few times to fill up some of those lines, the white lines, I mean, that I left. Okay, and you could use black. Black would look good. I'm going to pick up some more green, a soft green, I think, fairly soft, and I'm going to put some colour on the trees. Like that. Sometimes it's quite nice to do the trees in two different colours, like one colour on one side, and you don't necessarily want a straight line like that, but you can just soften that off. I've been doing quite a bit of that technique recently in various different things. You can also give a little bit more perspective by coming in, say, at the bottom of that building and making it a little bit darker there, where this one is casting a shadow on the one that's behind it. If you felt like doing that, that would not look wrong. And then we've got this beige one here. I don't think I'm going to do that there though, because that would then make, that would make it look too much like this one. Okay, so this one is asking for fairy tale roof tiles. Something along those lines. Go around the windows again. If you make it a little bit heavier at the bottom, so it makes it look like it's actually set into the building. And another thing you can do is you could give yourself some stonework. Just draw the lines of the rocks from which the house is built. It's like ours. And we will come in with some more blue, black, blue grey, or whatever it is. Go around these ones too. And in the front, I'm going to do a few little flowers here too. So using my Poetique markers, let's just do some very stylized little flowers. Across the front here. And some red. And in the distance here, we could have some yellow flowers. There's still quite a lot of outlining to do, but I'm not sure if I'm going to, what's the word, bore you to tears while I do all of that. But what I will do is pick up my black pen, and I'm just going to do what I always do, which is to come in and just put heavier shadows in the windows, just in the corners like that. Not necessarily in all of them. Definitely not all exactly the same. Don't forget, everything dries lighter. So if it looks a bit dark, bear with me. And then you can also just in places, very lightly, just the odd little bit of black sharpens things up a little bit. And we need to put our cat in somewhere. I think he's probably sitting here. Let's put him here. There we are. No whimsical painting is complete without a few white lines. Question is simply where and what. Perhaps they should be dots. I think these roofs need to be a little bit darker. Okay, so we're building it all up. We could put another tree here, growing up on this wall, wherever we've got space. put another tree in here too, come to that. And obviously we need one here. And this needs to be a little bit darker. And I think the roof on that one wants to be a bit more orange. Okay, well, I think we're probably just about there. Oh, I tell you what, I do think, yes, just one more tree. Here. Okay, so there we are. I will do a drawing of this for you if you're interested in using my original for your painting. I'll probably do both of them, like I said, and this one, or maybe that one and that one. To be quite honest, I don't really see a great deal of difference. I said at the beginning I'd be doing this one in Kuretake, this one in Michael Harding, and surprisingly, well, I can't really tell any difference, I have to say. I can mix all the same colours with the Kuretake set as I could with the Michael Harding, but that doesn't mean to say that this isn't better if you're going to be doing something more permanent, because you can definitely guarantee that the colour fastness on the Michael Harding is almost certain to be better. Maybe it does look a little bit more intense, perhaps, maybe. I don't know. Tell me in the comments below what you think. And, oh yes, if you're still with me at the moment, next Thursday we will be releasing another reverse colouring book for you. And then the following Thursday, and we will also be announcing the winner of the prizes, the giveaway to this, which you all know about because you've all made a comment, haven't you, on the video where I introduced this whole idea of the, that looks like it's upside down, doesn't it? Of the giveaway of this brand new Paul Rubens book and one of my paintings for anyone who leaves a comment on that video. And then so the result of that is going to be a totally random selection of a name out of the hat, so to speak. I'm not choosing somebody because that's not fair. We will just do it on a random basis. And then so that's next Thursday. Then Thursday after that, we'll have another giveaway. I don't know what it's going to be of yet, but I'll find something that people would be interested in. I just want to share back with you some of the love, so to speak, because you give me so much, and so it seems only right to, and that's what I want to do, you see. And Lottie is now barking and saying, come on, Mum, it's time for dinner. Let's go and have our lunch. So we will, and I will see you again soon, and have a lovely time and enjoy painting your little houses on a hill. It was fun to do, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it too. So I'll let you go, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye.